2. Welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Stories, where we get to interview authors from all over the world. You know, I love talking to authors who have the courage to take their thoughts, put it down on a piece of paper, and share it with the many. Therefore, they can change their legacy, their destiny, and the world potentially. If you're looking to write a book out there, check out Dream Starters Publishing. They can help you out with wherever you're at in the process. And if you have a book that's already done, you want to generate leads with it, check out bookmarketingcrm.com. The book that we're talking about today is perfect for you out there who is trying to build a business, because most likely you're in the service-based business too, if you're listening to this podcast, and you want to have an onboarding that's seamless, right? Well, we have an expert that knows quite a bit about the onboarding experience. The book that we're talking about is Onboarding Matters: How Successful Companies Transform New Customers into Loyal Champions. And it is an honor to have Donna Weber with us. Thanks so much for being here, Donna.
Oh, Mike, the honor is all mine. Thank you for including me on your awesome podcast.
Well, 247 reviews, pretty much all 5 stars. It's pretty easy to say, all right, this person knows something that I don't when it comes to onboarding. And, you know, you really do try to make it as easy as possible, but there's an art to it. And if you can give us a little rundown on the book itself and maybe your journey of where you come from and who are you?
Well, I work in the business to business high tech space. And so mostly in my career, I've worked at companies that provide software for other businesses to run their businesses, to provide better solutions for their customers. And I've had my own business, a consulting practice, speaking and writing, and for 8 years now. Just last week was my 8th anniversary of my own business. And so I help high growth companies transform their new and existing customers into loyal champions, with the idea that the success of the customer starts at the beginning of the journey. And I work with a lot of companies where they sell subscription software or subscription services. And so oftentimes they're waiting like to the end of a license to engage customers. And I'm like, hey, you need to do that all at the beginning of the customer relationship.
Nice. Okay. And so, you know, there are many people who listen to us that maybe are starting a business or growing a business, but I have a couple different revenue streams, and one of which is a CRM, which we offer. Obviously, it's called Book Marketing CRM. The education required to get them in, but also the seamless transition from them becoming this newcomer to understanding the process, to having multiple divisions know what's going on with that project, with that client. It's very difficult. This is not easy. So I'm assuming at the highest level, the companies that you've worked with, it's very complicated, but there are probably certain steps that you provide to every single business. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you think about it from a business to consumer, there's ways to maybe onboard a consumer to a new product or a service. And that can often be something very simple. It's maybe a little video or a step-by-step guide. I belong to my local gym in my town, and there's an onboarding process to help me familiarize myself with the gym so I don't just get intimidated. I go in and use the gym and see results. And in the world of business to business, you might have multiple layers and personas. You might have the buyers. The buyers might be in a procurement department, right? Then you've got executives, maybe you have system administrators, business analysts, shop floor workers. So you might have lots of different personas that all need to be onboarded and learn how to use the tool so that they see the difference in their lives. The whole point is, something I've been diving into is like the whole point of buying anything is we're looking for transformation,
Yeah,
whether
right.
it's new shoes or a bra or an eyeliner. I'm looking for transformation. So same with our customers. They're not excited to use your CRM product just to log into a new piece of software. They're looking for transformation. So that's what we need to deliver and start delivering that right away.
Man, that's probably the first time I ever really correlated that my CRM is like the eyeliner or the bra for the
I mean,
woman
I've
out
I've
there.
purchased those products online, and I've received an email showing like, here's the best way to use this. And I'm like, this is brilliant. They didn't just sell me something, they're showing me how to get that transformation as quickly as possible.
God, it's a great way to put it. We talk about the hero's journey on this podcast a lot, right? Every entrepreneur is on the hero's journey. And it's our job as maybe these businesses out there that provide tools and resources to give them the sword so they can complete the hero's journey, which is really all about transformation. And in this book, you talk about the customer journey and you say that onboarding is the most important part of the customer journey. And I can't believe that's, I never really realized that the beginning of the relationship will put you on solid ground or sand. You just don't know until potentially a week or two into the process. So tell me about how this is so important and why don't people really take advantage of maybe strengthening this part of their business?
Well, we all know on a personal level that first impressions matter and that we can make or break a relationship. And the reality is that the way our brains work, the neuroscience, is that we are wired to resist change. And we look at anytime something new happens, we go, is this a friend? Is this a foe? Am I in danger? Am I safe? So we're evaluating all of this.
Mhm.
And so if we go look at the buyer may be making a decision and they may be putting their reputation or even their job on the line to purchase your product or service. And so what happens, they're going to be dwelling in fear, doubt. They might have buyer's remorse. They may be ruminating on worst case scenarios. So you need to jump in there right away and help them see the journey ahead. What's next? I'm again from a consumer perspective, at my house, we were interviewing vendors for HVAC, which is healing, ventilation, and cooling, right? We're installing a new furnace and a new air conditioner. And it was really interesting seeing how the different vendors approached it. And one of them, that we never heard anything after we initially talked to them. Another sent emails with photos of the technicians coming out. They said, this is what to expect. This is what's next. And it started to build that trust right away. So we need to build that trust rather than leaving people in that fear, doubt, rumination where we go subconsciously and help them, see the journey ahead and partner with them and then deliver value as quickly as possible.
Now, in your book, you have the 6 stages of orchestrated onboarding. I guess you start off with is embark stage one.
Correct.
Okay, so tell me about it. The embarking to the handoff to the kickoff. I like how you put this. Really simple terms, by the way, in this book.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I designed 6 stages of the orchestrated onboarding framework to help companies. And again, I'm primarily working with companies who have complex software and they're very focused on the implementation and they think, okay, we're going to implement the software. It might take 3 days, might take 3 months, might take 3 years if there's a really big implementation. And they're so focused on the product. And I'm so excited that you shared about the hero's journey because they look at the product as the hero
Mm.
and they think, oh, if we just installed this, if we delivered this solution, check, transformation is delivered. But that's not the case. And so we need to start that journey even before the deal is closed during the embark stage. We need to start building relationships with the handoff stage where we have internal and customer handoffs. And then we get to so those first 2 stages are the big picture, the strategic relationship building. And then we get to the kickoff, which is a bit more tactical and maybe more of a project management oriented. And so that sets you up for success. When companies dive right into the kickoff and the details, people get overwhelmed. And then I often see issues happen downstream. So we move the relationship building upstream and things roll more smoothly and more quickly downstream.
Yeah, and I noticed just by thinking of my CRM while you're talking, the people who do not do a stage right away, it becomes, stagnant. They start to not feel that transformation or they're not getting any closer to their goals. So one of the stages is, hey, meet with project manager, agency manager, Elisa Cook on our team. Well, some people do not schedule that call. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, what do I do next? If you don't do it right away, if it doesn't get scheduled or you schedule and then you cancel, I have a hard time as a business owner uh, getting that person back into the action mode or getting them into wanting to stay on this journey because they're like, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't in my schedule this week or next, so I'll put it on pause and then I will pick this back up maybe in a couple months. So, is there anything that I could do or anybody listening who's going through the same problem that they can apply to their business and say, hey, maybe there's an incentive or a reward, or maybe there's some type of bonus attached to completing the onboarding stages?
Absolutely. So we need to move from a restaurant mentality to the gym mentality. So, rather than thinking, well, our customers bought our product, they're going to sit around, place their order, and then we're going to deliver and then clean up after them. That is not the case. We need to help them see that it's like going to the gym. If I go to the gym, if I sign up for a membership, I don't get any benefits unless I show up, unless I do some heavy breathing, unless I, do some grunting and, heavy lifting. And I might be miserable for the first week or month because it's hard. It's hard work. But I need to show up and sweat to see the results. And so it's our responsibility to tell our customers what they need to do, how they're going to partner. In fact, I was meeting with a company today, and during that embark stage, we were talking about highlighting the journey ahead. This is what we're expecting of you. This is how much time it's going to take. Here are the milestones we need to hit. This is who you need on your side to make sure we get to deliver results and value to you as quickly as possible. So we need to show up as peers with our customers and kind of kick their butts to make sure they get the results.
Got it. And so we also have a publishing company where we have clients that go through an interview stage, and then we have a ghostwriting stage, and then there's a project manager who gets it across the finish line. It is pretty amazing how, you have these stages in place and maybe 85, 90% of the people stick to it, but there's that 5 or 10%. They're outliers, right? They never do the scheduling and they never respond. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, they're asking you, where is it at? Well, I don't know how to button it up completely for everybody. Is there an attrition rate that you have to be comfortable with? And is there a way maybe to handle these outliers that may come into your pipeline?
Well, I like to leverage the 80-20 rule because there's always going to be outliers. So by building a prescriptive and proactive journey for the majority of your customers that gets results, that's where you need to focus. If you try to tailor for every customer and every experience and every situation, that can be very time consuming and expensive. And so sometimes, like, for example, I'm working with a company, they have a CRM for financial advisors, and they were spending so much time on these very small financial advisor groups, like 1 to 3. And they were actually losing money there because, one, they didn't have the time to commit to really implementing the tool. Two, they're often more volatile. They're going out of business. And we call that uncontrollable churn. So you got to get clear on, there's a certain amount where you just say, look, this is uncontrollable churn. We write it off. There's going to be people who are going to sign up and think that without any effort, they're going to see all the change and then blame it all on you, right? So there's a point you just kind of have to wash your hands and move on to those customers who are thriving as a result of your solution, services, products.
So the stages are within the book, guys. So check out the book if you want to understand them in detail. There are 6 of them. However, you do have the principles of orchestrated onboarding. And so design thinking principles. I have not read this book yet, but I'm interested in chapter 10. What is that all about?
Well, design thinking means it's about really understanding your users. So let's say you wanted to work with me to create a really valuable and impactful onboarding journey for your CRM customers. And you and I might have a lot of great ideas, but the best way to learn, the best way to innovate is from interviewing your customers. Maybe we talk to 3 or 5 customers who are recently onboarded and find out what they loved, find out what they hated, find out what they like, what they need, and design it around them. So the first key of the design thinking process is empathy. to really understand your users. And then we ideate and deploy something and then repeat. It's really all about experimenting, trying stuff out, seeing what works, and then trying the next thing. So really chunking things down into like digestible bits and then just keep trying stuff out. As an entrepreneur, I'll often get in my head for my business going, well, should I do this? Should I do that? And then sometimes I'm like, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm the, it's my business. I'm the only one here. And I forget that I get to just try stuff out. And the reality is that people don't see our failures. They only see our successes. So we need to try stuff out. I recently launched a new course. I did not create the whole course. I created a wait list. I created learning objectives and an outline. And I created a website and I thought, well, let's just see, is there any traction here? I did not create the whole course. And guess what? No traction. So, I spent a lot of time building out just how I was going to promote it, but I did not spend months building out this whole new offering only to find there was no interest. So, okay, I learned something, move on, and then we'll try it again another time.
Yeah. And so with these companies that you work with, I'm assuming maybe there are certain mistakes that they're making that might be transferable to the everyday entrepreneur that listens to this podcast. So, have you noticed a common theme of whether it's complicating the process or slowing it down? Because I'm thinking there are certain things that people will always value. That's speed and simplicity. And if I just lean in on that on every aspect of my company, usually we have great results or better results than if we try to overcomplicate it, slow it down, bog it down, have too many cooks in the kitchen. And so that's what I've learned. Those two core characteristics or core values that I talk about a lot in my company. So do you notice that there's a certain theme of many, mistakes they're making that you could share with our audience to say, don't make this mistake?
Yeah, there's many. Try to boil it down. So one is spending too much time with every customer and treating every customer as a special snowflake. So too
Ooh.
often when I work with companies, I ask them, well, what is the average selling price of their product? And then we calculate the time and effort that they're spending to onboard, enable, and get customers to value. And quite often, Mike, the reality is they're spending more when we calculate out the cost of the time and effort. They're spending more money to engage those customers than what customers are spending with them. And so you really need to have a hard look at your business. If when can you recognize revenue? How much is it costing you to sell to customers? How long does it take to bring in some initial revenue? And if you're spending so much time with those customers and then they churn, you're losing money. So you need to get really clear on your numbers to make sure that you have a sustainable business model. So if you're treating, let's say your product is $5,000 or less, or $10,000 or less, you cannot spend a lot of one-on-one time with your customers. You need to find ways to onboard and engage them and get them to value as quickly as possible and in a scalable way. And that it means a one-to-many way. Otherwise, you're just pouring money down the drain and you're eroding your profits and margins.
Yeah, great point there, right? And sometimes we have certain people that will ask a lot of questions and you just don't know when to say, all right, I can answer that on the group call, on the one-to-many approach, rather than the one-to-one phone call or Zoom call. So when I'm thinking of ways to make it as easy as possible for people to almost decide their fate or decide where they want to go within our company, I think of maybe you have to have at least two, maybe three pathways for them to take. And so when it comes to onboarding, my philosophy is it's almost like a funnel. You get many people to go into one door, and then they choose either two doors. Then that goes into let's choose another door. And that all depends on price, what solution they're looking for, how much attention they really need. Are they do-it-yourselfers or do they need everything done for them? So am I looking at it the right way that it's basically like a funnel, but you open up many doors depending on price points and commitment level as time goes
Yeah,
on?
I think that's a good point. The main key is to be prescriptive and not treat every customer with special care. So you might say, well, our customers use our products and services for all sorts of things, but maybe you can start to group them. Well, you know what? There's three buckets here. And there's, 20% that do very different things. But let's focus on those three buckets or doors. And then you can guide customers to those journeys and build out a journey for each approach. Another thing I like to do is build out a foundational journey that all customers need to get to. And then from there, they might kind of veer off to the different doors. Knowing your customers, do they like self-paced? Do they need a lot of hand-holding? Sometimes the smallest customers need the most hand-holding, and you might need to charge for that. Say, hey, we have this premium concierge service. You got to sell it with the value. We're going to do everything for you. You could just sit back and relax. Don't worry. But charge for it so you're at least covering for your time and costs.
Do you have any guidelines or templates that you have in your mind when it comes to onboarding? How much time it should take to go from stage 0 to stage completion of being onboarded? Do you have any window of time that you could share with us?
Well, one, this is something that I've observed. I don't have any hard, firm calculations around it, but generally, customers need to obtain some value in half the time it takes to close the deal. So you need to know how long your sales cycle is.
Oh my God.
If your sales cycle is 2 weeks, then customers want to have value in about a week. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be fully onboarded, but they need to have some level of value. And the shorter your sales cycle is, the more like a business to consumer experience you need to deliver. Now, if you have this complex, enterprise product that takes a year to close a deal, then generally you're going to have more like 6 months to really deliver value. But the reality is the faster you deliver even a morsel of value, the better. So that might be delivering a prototype or a proof of concept. It might be deploying one component rather than having this whole long onboarding monolithic program where you can start kind of roll out specific modules. And can I share an example? This is actually another CRM company.
Yeah, please.
And this is based in Eastern Europe, in Hungary and Romania. And they have this CRM generally for very small businesses in a region of the world where people are not very tech savvy. And they were like, hey, our product will do everything for anyone, whatever you want, infinitely customizable. The sales cycle was about 2 weeks, and they were taking about 4 months to implement it and customize it. And the customers were like, can you do this? Can you do that? They said, yes, yes, yes. By the time it was deployed, the customers were completely disengaged and churning. And so we started exploring the idea of, well, what are some quick wins that we could deliver value? And what that did was it transformed everything about that company and the product. We went from delivering this infinitely customizable platform to defining distinct personas that had distinct modules. Like there's a sales module, there's a marketing module, there's the HR module. And now we can sell and implement that module in like a week or two. They get some very quick value, and now there's infinite opportunity to keep selling more modules. And so they went, because these customers aren't technical, they didn't even know what they wanted or needed. So let's get you to value in a week or two, and then we can continue that conversation around how else we can help your business thrive with our product.
You're making me think of all the mistakes I'm making when it comes to this, right? And hopefully people listening out there or watching are starting to take notice of maybe some of the things they're doing wrong. And what you just said there is a gold mine for me. When you say the sales cycle is maybe potentially a month, they better see results in 2 weeks. Once again, if you over deliver and deliver in a week, it's only going to be in your favor. But right now, people are signing up for some of our CRM packages that there is no onboarding, right? Everything's there. Have fun with it. And if they want the onboarding, the tutorial, we have it available. I need to make that mandatory, and I need to deliver something right away. We're noticing people drop off because it's almost as if, all right, now I'm in, I'll get back to this in a week and fix
Yeah.
it. But they're not doing it. And it's our fault for making it maybe more complicated than it should. So
Well,
great piece of
they
advice.
may not know what to do. So some ideas, Mike, or you could have in product guidance. So there's tools that deliver in product guidance where you can click and kind of gives you a tour through your
Oh,
software.
that's there. They just don't watch it.
And also you could do like email campaigns where you say you need to do this,
Yep.
and you keep getting reminded until they do that. And once they take the action, it's like a branched journey. So depending on their action, it kind of keeps driving that change. Do you measure product usage so you can track kind of where people are dropping off?
No, not right now. We are not.
Yeah.
We are seeing them get to a point, and I mean, I would still say that a high percentage is doing everything we need, but there are a lot of people trying out the trial period, right? The free
Mhm.
trial is part of our system, and I noticed that the moment that they need to pay, or number two, need to do anything, that's where it's dropping off. So if there's anything I'm able to see, it's the trend of the trial period ending.
And then I would want to see, well, what is the value that they're wanting and needing? So, for example, I'm working with a company in Australia that has an accounting platform. And what the product team was like, oh, we need to get the customers to connect their banks right away. But that's like, okay, I connected my bank, so what? But what they really need to do is send out an invoice and get paid right away,
Yeah.
right? And then they go, cha-ching, I've got some cash. This is an awesome product. And then they're willing to start all that kind of integration effort, which is not sexy or fun or rewarding immediately. So you might think about, well, what are some things that are going to build that, like get that dopamine, that feel good chemical going in their brain, and then they're like going, this is awesome. I'm gonna because there's a cost to free. It's time. So even though you might sign up for a free app, it's still my time to one, figure out which free app I want to use, do all that research, and then the effort required to figure it out. And so you might need to kind of spoon feed that to them a bit more.
Yeah, one of the things you touched on was the dopamine hits. I realized that maybe we need to really promote the end result of getting leads with their book
Mm-hmm.
and showing the excitement of getting the notification that somebody just got the audiobook or somebody had
Mm-hmm.
downloaded their book or bought it. And I think I need to promote that a little bit better. So great piece of advice because you got to show the end result more and you got to show the transformation of other people, the testimonials, the reviews of people who used to be in their shoes and now look at them. So I'll be doing that. And you know, if there's one piece of advice that you would provide to our listeners or viewers when it comes to setting up a great onboarding, is it having one person be the mentor taking them through, or is it having it maybe as simple as possible to have as few cooks in the kitchen so they only know to go to one person if there's a question? So when it comes to individuals taking them by the hand and pulling them through, do you recommend as few as possible, one, or does it matter?
Well, that one I would say depends. It really needs that depends on what's going on. It's not, it doesn't matter how many people are involved. It's how you handle the transition from one to the other. But if there's one piece of guidance that I would like to leave with you and all the listeners is to listen to your customers before you start designing something new. Talk to 3 to 5 customers and ask some really basic open-ended questions about what they want and need. So for example, I've worked with companies where their customers are accountants and they're like, just leave me alone. I want to just figure stuff out, where they're like big data developers. They just want to, read stuff. Where their customers are marketing, they need fancy videos. You really need to know your personas and what they want and need so that they feel engaged and you're helping them to get to the value that they want as quickly as possible. It's not what you think, it's what they think.
That's all it matters. Yeah. Right. It's your brand is what they say about you when you're not in the room. And if you're complicated or you're
Mhm.
difficult in any way, it doesn't matter how good your product is or how good your service is. It's all about what they're thinking and saying about you afterwards. Am I right?
Correct. And if you deliver some value as quickly as possible, then even when things get awkward or complicated with integrations and implementations and issues that might arise, they're going to be more willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm. So in onboarding matters, Donna Weber shares the orchestrated onboarding framework that she implements with leading B2B companies to turn onboarding from a missed opportunity into a competitive advantage. I love that sentence that you have there because it does show that your onboarding, even if you might not have the best product, but the onboarding can separate you from your competitors. And maybe I never thought of it that way. Your website is, I think, donnaweber.com. Is that right?
Correct. And
And
that's
what would
Weber with
they,
one B like the grill.
what, yeah, so one B, one B like the girl. What's on your website? Will they be able to get in touch with you? Do you offer the courses? Is it one-on-one, one to many? What do you offer on that
Yeah,
website?
there's many ways to engage with me. One, you can read my book. Two, I offer courses. I have an orchestrated onboarding masterclass. I have a lot of free resources, including my success plan template and articles and videos. I have I'm coming up to 200 videos that I do every week, 2 to 3 minutes long. I offer assessments. So if you want me to come and have a look at your current approach, as well as consulting engagements to really take your company and your customers to the next level.
Yeah, it looks like your background. This is what you are known for in the world. It's easy to find you on Google. It's easy to find you on Amazon, and I don't know too many onboarding experts out there. So it's an honor to talk with you. Social media, is there one channel that you're on more so than any other?
Yeah,
Whether it's
primarily on LinkedIn because my world is mostly business to business, but I am also on Instagram onboarding expert.
beautiful. High growth companies hire Donna to increase customer retention and lifetime value. That's one thing that people always ask me. Hey, what's the lifetime value of your customers? I'm like, oh man, I don't even know these numbers because it's so across the board, depending on the solutions that they pick. So I got to get these numbers dialed
Yeah,
in.
well,
But
if you need help, let's talk.
I would love to talk with you further. And obviously, people inside the $1 million circle do need help with this because, social media is one aspect, building the business is another, but making it as easy as possible for their customers to be the hero in their own journey. My God, you always have a tribe if you can do that.
Mhm.
Anyways, you help decrease time to customer first value, reduce implementation time and costs, boost product adoption and usage, and scale customer success organizations. So, guys, pick up her book if you are interested in making it as easy as possible on your potential customers to become a lifelong, I guess you could say, raving fan. Onboarding Matters is the book. She's easy to find, donnaweber.com. Thanks so much for being here, Donna.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
All right, and remember, guys, $1 million book will lead to $1 million life. Right on.